The photograph lands in a pool of blood at Kang Min-ho's feet, and the dying man's laugh cuts through the warehouse like broken glass. 3 hours. He chokes out, crimson bubbling at his lips. That's how long your daughter has before my partner executes the backup plan. Min-ho's gun is still smoking, the body already cooling. But his eyes are locked on the image. A little girl with pigtails and a birthmark identical to his own, waving at a camera she doesn't know is hunting her. Behind her stands Ebele Kingsley, the woman he destroyed 6 years ago to keep her safe, the woman who never told him she was carrying his child. The dead man's phone buzzes once, twice. A message appears. Target acquired. Awaiting confirmation. Min-ho's hands don't shake as he checks his watch, but his voice fractures when he speaks. Tae-yoon, we have 3 hours to find my daughter before someone kills her. If you love dark romance with impossible stakes, hit subscribe because this story is about to get dangerous. The warehouse falls silent, except for the wet sound of blood spreading across concrete. Min-ho stares at the photograph, his mind fracturing into 2 simultaneous realities. The one where he's a man who just executed someone without hesitation, and the one where he's apparently a father who's been absent for 5 years of his daughter's life. Young! Tae-yoon's voice cuts through the shock. The phone! Min-ho looks down. The dead man's phone is still lit up, the message glowing. Target acquired. Awaiting confirmation. Someone is waiting for orders. Someone has his daughter in their sights right now. Min-ho snatches the phone, his tactical mind overriding the emotional chaos. Get me everything on this device. Every call, every text, every contact. I want to know who he worked for and where they are. Now. Already running it. Tae-yoon is typing furiously on his tablet, his face illuminated by the blue glow. But Hyung, if they're waiting for confirmation and he doesn't respond, they'll either abort or execute on their own initiative. Min-ho studies the message, his jaw clenched. The timestamp shows it was sent 4 minutes ago. How long before they expect a response? Depends on the operation parameters. Could be 5 minutes. Could be an hour. We don't have an hour. Min-ho looks at the photograph again, committing every detail to memory. The little girl, Jia, according to the preliminary intel Tae-yoon pulled up, is wearing a yellow jacket and jeans. Her hair is in 2 puffs with colorful elastics. She's holding a stuffed animal. She looks maybe 4, maybe 5. She looks happy. She looks loved. She looks like she's about to become collateral damage in a war she doesn't know exists. The photo metadata shows it was taken today at 3:47 p.m. Tae-yoon reports. Location tagged to a playground near Seoul International Kindergarten in Itaewon. That's probably her school. Min-ho checks his watch. It's 7:23 p.m. now, so they've been following her daily routine. They know her schedule. He pulls out his own phone. Give me the mother's address. Ebele Kingsley, apartment 304, building 7, Hanam Heights in Itaewon, 3 blocks from the school. Tae-yoon pauses. Hyung, are you sure she's yours? I mean, without confirmation. Look at the birthmark. Min-ho thrusts the photograph at him. That's the Kang family mark. 7 generations. It doesn't lie. Tae-yoon studies the image. Then his eyes widen slightly. It's identical to yours. Exactly. Min-ho is already moving toward the exit, which means whoever took this photo knows about the birthmark. They've done their research. This isn't random. This is targeted. Tae-yoon follows, already coordinating with their security teams through his earpiece. Someone found your weakness and they're preparing to exploit it. Min-ho's hands clench into fists. 6 years. He spent 6 years building an empire so powerful that no one dares challenge him directly. He's eliminated rivals, crushed rebellions, created a network of fear so comprehensive that even mentioning his name makes hardened criminals nervous. And someone found the one thing that could destroy all of it, a child he didn't know existed. The SUV is waiting outside, engine running. Min-ho slides into the back seat, Tae-yoon beside him, as their driver pulls away from the warehouse with 3 security vehicles falling into formation around them. Route? the driver asks. Itaewon, Hanam Heights. Fast, but not obvious. Min-ho pulls up building schematics on his phone. Taeyoon, I want eyes on that building in the next 5 minutes. Drones, street cameras, everything. If there's a hostile team in position, we'll see them. Taeyoon is typing rapidly. I'm also pulling traffic cameras from the playground. If they've been surveilling the target for days, they'll show up on footage. The city blurs past outside the tinted windows. Seoul at night, neon and steel, and millions of people going about their lives, completely unaware that in one modest apartment building in Itaewon, a 5-year-old girl is being hunted by people who want to use her as a weapon. Min-ho's phone buzzes. A file transfer from Taeyoon's team. Preliminary background on Ebele Kingsley. He opens it even though part of him doesn't want to see what the last 6 years have done to her. The first image makes his chest tighten. It's a professional headshot, probably from her translation company website. She's smiling, but it doesn't reach her eyes. Her hair is natural, styled in twists. She's wearing a simple blazer. She looks competent and professional, and nothing like the woman who used to laugh in his arms, who used to look at him like he was someone worth saving. She looks like someone who's been surviving instead of living. Because of him, he scrolls through the rest of the file. Freelance translator, specializing in Korean, English, French. Decent income, but not extravagant. No criminal record. No romantic relationships on file, at least none serious enough to show up in background checks. She volunteers at her daughter's school once a week. She takes Gia to the same playground every Tuesday and Thursday after pickup. She built a whole life without him. She raised his daughter alone. The guilt is staggering, but Min-ho shoves it down. There's no time for guilt, only action. Drone is in position, Taeyoon reports. Scanning the building now. He pulls up the feed on his tablet, and Min-ho leans over to watch. The aerial view shows Hanam Heights from above a modest apartment complex with a small courtyard, playground equipment, and resident parking. The streets around it are typical for the neighborhood. A mix of pedestrians, parked cars, a convenience store on the corner. And there, Min-ho's blood runs cold, a white van parked across the street with a clear sightline to the building entrance. Zoom in on that van, he orders. The image clarifies. 2 figures visible in the front seats. The driver appears to be watching something on his phone. The passenger is scanning the street, his posture alert. That's a surveillance team, Taeyoon says grimly. Or a grab team waiting for the go order. Min-ho's mind races through scenarios. Can you get the plate? Already running it. A pause. Plates are stolen, reported missing from a rental company in Gangnam 6 hours ago. So they're professionals. Min-ho studies the van's position. They've got eyes on the main entrance. Do we have coverage on the other exits? Building has 3 exits: main entrance, service entrance in the back, and a fire escape on the east side. Taeyoon pulls up the schematics. If they're smart, they've got the back covered too. Assume they're smart. Min-ho checks his watch. 7:34 p.m. 11 minutes since the last message to the dead man's phone. Get our teams in position around all exits. I want surveillance on the van. And I want to know the second any other vehicles arrive in the area. What about the apartment itself? Should we try to make contact? Min-ho considers this. If he calls Ebele out of nowhere after 6 years of silence, she'll either hang up or think it's a scam. If he shows up at her door, she'll probably slam it in his face. But if he does nothing and something happens to Gia, I'm going in, he decides. Young, that's exactly what they're waiting for. The second you show up, they'll know she matters to you. They already know. That's why they sent the photograph. Min-ho's voice hardens. They're testing me, watching to see how I react. If I stay away, they'll interpret it as indifference and grab her anyway. If I come running, they'll know she's my weakness. Either way, she's in danger. So what's the play? I minimize the danger. Min-ho's eyes are cold as he watches the drone feed. I get them both out of that apartment and somewhere secure before whoever's running this operation makes their move. And if the woman refuses to come with you, she won't have a choice. Taeyoon absorbs this without comment. He's worked for Min-ho long enough to know that when it comes to protecting what's his, Min-ho doesn't negotiate. The SUV pulls into a side street 3 blocks from Hanam Heights. Min-ho can see the building from here, lit windows in the gathering darkness, people coming and going, everything normal, except for the white van lurking across the street like a predator. Status on our teams? Min-ho asks. Team 1 is positioned with eyes on the van. Team 2 is covering the service entrance. Team 3 has the fire escape. Team 4 is mobile and ready to intervene. Tae-yoon looks up. We're as ready as we're going to be. Min-ho takes a slow breath. In the 6 years since he walked away from Ebele, he's imagined seeing her again countless times. In his imagination, it was always controlled a chance meeting at a restaurant, maybe, or a deliberate visit where he'd finally explain why he'd left. Not this. Never this. Not him showing up at her door after midnight to tell her their daughter is being hunted by people who want to use her as leverage against him. Let's move, he says. They exit the SUV and approach the building on foot, Min-ho in dark clothing that helps him blend with the evening pedestrians. Tae-yoon stays a few steps behind, speaking quietly into his earpiece as he coordinates with the teams. Van occupants are alert. Comes the report through Min-ho's own earpiece. Driver is watching the entrance. Passenger just received a phone call. Min-ho's pace doesn't change, but his hand moves to the gun concealed at his hip. Can you hear what they're saying? Negative, windows are up, but the passenger is gesturing, looks agitated. They're wondering why their partner hasn't responded, Min-ho says quietly. They're getting nervous. He reaches the building entrance. The door requires a key code, but Tae-yoon already has it from their preliminary intel. The lock clicks open. Inside, the lobby is modest but clean, a few potted plants, a bulletin board with community notices, elevator doors at the far end. Min-ho can hear a TV playing somewhere above, a dog barking, the ordinary sounds of people living ordinary lives. Except on the 3rd floor, in apartment 304, nothing is ordinary anymore. The elevator ride up feels like it takes hours. Min-ho stares at his reflection in the polished doors, a man in his early 30s, dressed in black, with eyes that have seen too much violence and a face that hasn't smiled in years. What is he going to say to Ebele? What is he going to say to his daughter? The elevator dings. 3rd floor. Min-ho steps out into a hallway that smells like someone's cooking dinner, garlic, and ginger, and something savory. The numbers on the doors count upward. 301, 302, 303. Sanbailing. He stands in front of the door for a long moment, his heart hammering in a way it hasn't since his first kill 15 years ago. Behind this door is the woman he loved enough to walk away from. Behind this door is a daughter he never knew existed. Behind this door is everything he never let himself want, because wanting things made them vulnerable. Min-ho raises his hand and knocks 3 sharp raps that echo in the quiet hallway. Movement inside, footsteps, then a voice, soft and achingly familiar, speaking in English. Baby, stay in your room for a minute, okay? Ebele. Her voice hits him like a physical blow, dragging up memories he spent 6 years trying to bury. The way she laughed, the way she said his name, the way she'd looked at him in that London hotel room when he told her it was over, her eyes full of tears and confusion and betrayal. The door opens on a chain lock, and there she is. 6 years older. Still beautiful, maybe more beautiful, in the way that comes from surviving hardship and coming out stronger. Her hair is in a wrap, her face bare of makeup, and she's wearing an oversized sweater that hangs off one shoulder. She freezes when she sees him. Every drop of color drains from her face. No, she whispers. Min-ho's throat is so tight he can barely speak. Ebele? No. The word comes out sharper now, edged with panic and fury, and something that sounds like grief. You don't get to be here. You don't get to show up after 6 years. Someone is planning to kidnap our daughter tonight, Min-ho says flatly. He watches the words hit her, watches her sway slightly, one hand flying to her mouth, her eyes going wide with terror. For a second, he thinks she might faint. Then fury floods her expression, hot and bright and utterly magnificent. How dare you, she breathes. How dare you come here and say our daughter like you have any right to claim her? There are two men in a van across the street who have been watching this building for the last 40 minutes. Min-ho interrupts, his voice hard. They work for people who want to use Jia as leverage against me. I killed their partner an hour ago, which means they're getting nervous and unpredictable. Every second we stand here arguing is a second they could decide to move on their own initiative. Ebele stares at him like he's speaking a foreign language. This is insane. This is your insane. I'm calling the police. The police can't protect her from the kind of people I'm talking about. Min-ho keeps his voice low, conscious of not wanting to scare the child he can hear moving around inside the apartment. But I can, if you come with me, right now. Come with you where? I don't even know who you are anymore. Ebele's voice rises despite her obvious effort to stay quiet. You disappeared 6 years ago. You blocked my calls, returned my letters, erased yourself from my life like I was nothing. I did it to protect you, Min-ho says, and the words feel like swallowing glass. Well, congratulations. Your protection was so effective that I had to raise our daughter alone for 5 years. Ebele's laugh is bitter and broken. You want to protect us now? Stay away. That's the best protection you can offer. From inside the apartment, a small voice calls out, Mommy, who are you talking to? Abel's entire body goes rigid. When she looks back at Min-ho, there's something feral in her eyes, pure protective instinct. Leave, she says quietly. Leave right now, or I swear to God, I will scream loud enough to wake this entire building. Ebele. I mean it, Min-ho. Get away from my daughter. The possessive pronoun is a knife between his ribs. My daughter. Not our daughter. Not even the daughter. Meh. Because from Ebele's perspective, that's exactly what Jia is. Hers. Only hers. Because Min-ho was never there. I'm not leaving without you, Min-ho says, and his voice has gone deadly quiet. You can hate me. You can scream at me. You can spend the rest of your life making me pay for what I did. But right now, tonight, you're both in danger, and I'm getting you somewhere safe whether you like it or not. You can't just... Yes, I can. Min-ho's eyes are cold. I can have 12 armed men in this hallway in the next 60 seconds. I can have this entire building locked down. I can make it physically impossible for you to refuse. But I'd rather not do it that way, because I'd rather not traumatize our daughter the first time I meet her. Ebele's breath catches. You're threatening me. I'm giving you a choice. Come willingly and let me explain in the car, or force my hand and make this uglier than it needs to be. Either way, you're both coming with me. For a long moment, Ebele just stares at him. Min-ho can see the calculation happening behind her eyes, weighing his threat, gauging his seriousness, trying to decide if he's bluffing. He's not bluffing. She must see it in his face because something in her expression crumbles. If this is a lie, she whispers, and her voice shakes. If you're doing this just to insert yourself into our lives, if you're manipulating me, it's not a lie. Min-ho pulls out his phone and shows her the photograph. This was taken today at 3:47 p.m. The man who took it told me I had 3 hours before his partner executed their backup plan. That was 90 minutes ago. Ebele stares at the image at herself and Jia in the playground, captured without their knowledge. The color drains from her face again. Oh my God, she breathes. The men in the van across the street are waiting for orders. Min-ho continues quietly. I can show you the drone footage if you want proof. Or you can trust me just long enough to get Jia somewhere they can't reach her. Your choice. Ebele's hand trembles on the door chain. I don't trust you. I know. But you trust that I wouldn't put our daughter in more danger. Min-ho holds her gaze. That's enough for now. Another long moment of silence. Then Ebele closes the door. Min-ho tenses, ready to make good on his threat to force the issue. The chain slides free. The door opens wider, and Ebele steps back. You have 5 minutes to convince me this is real. And if I think for 1 second that you're lying, I'm taking Jia and we're leaving. Through the fire escape if we have to. Fair enough? Min-ho steps into the apartment and Tae-yoon follows, immediately taking up a position by the door. The apartment is small but warmly decorated bright colors. children's artwork on the walls, toys neatly organized in baskets. It smells like home in a way Min-ho's sterile penthouse never has. This is where his daughter grew up. This is the life Ebele built without him. Stay here, Ebele says curtly, then disappears down a short hallway. Min-ho can hear her talking to Gia in soft, soothing tones. Baby, we're gonna go on a little adventure, okay? Can you pack Mr. Snuggles and your favorite toys? Just for one night. Why? A child's voice, high and curious. Because Mommy's friend needs our help with something. It'll be fun, I promise. Can I wear my princess pajamas? You can wear whatever you want. There's the sound of small feet running, drawers opening, the kind of chaos that comes from a 5-year-old packing. Min-ho stands frozen in the living room, his heart hammering. His daughter is 20 feet away. His daughter exists. His daughter has a voice and favorite pajamas and a stuffed animal named Mr. Snuggles. Hyung, Tae-yoon says quietly through the earpiece. The van just received another passenger. 3 men now. They're getting ready to move. Min-ho's blood runs cold. How long do we have? Minutes, maybe less. Tell our teams to prepare for intercept. If they try to enter this building, they won't make it past the lobby. But Min-ho knows how these operations work. If the grab team is smart, they won't come through the lobby. They'll use the service entrance or the fire escape. They'll time it for maximum chaos. They need to move now. Ebele returns with Gia, and Min-ho's breath stops. His daughter is tiny, so much smaller than he expected. She's wearing the princess pajamas she wanted, pink with sparkles, and she's clutching a stuffed rabbit that's seen better days. Her hair is in 2 puffs, and her eyes? Her eyes are identical to his own, dark and wide and full of curiosity as she looks up at him. Mommy, who's your friend? She asks. Min-ho can't speak, can't breathe, can't do anything except stare at this perfect, innocent creature who has his eyes and his birthmark and absolutely no idea that her entire world is about to change. This is, Ebele hesitates, her voice tight. This is Mr. Kang. He's an old friend who's going to help us with something. Ji-ah studies Min-ho seriously. Then she notices his hands. Her face lights up. You have the moon. She holds up her own wrist, showing him the crescent-shaped birthmark that matches his exactly. Mommy says I'm special because I have the moon. Gia continues brightly. Do you have it too? Are you special like me? Min-ho's throat closes completely. He has to physically force words out. Yes, just like you. Gia beams at him, dimples flashing, and something in Min-ho's chest cracks open something he's kept locked away for years. Something he never let himself feel, because feeling things meant vulnerability, and vulnerability meant weakness. But looking at his daughter's smile, he doesn't feel weak. He feels terrified. We need to go, Ebele says quietly, her hand protective on Gia's shoulder. Now. Min-ho nods, not trusting his voice. They move toward the door, but Tae-yoon holds up a hand. Wait, the grab team is moving. 3 men just exited the van, and they're heading for the service entrance. How long until they reach this floor? 2 minutes, maybe 3. Back exit? Min-ho asks Ebele. Fire escape, end of the hall, through the window. That's where they'll expect us to go. Min-ho's mind races through scenarios. Tae-yoon, have Team 2 intercept the grab team at the service entrance. Make it loud. I want them to think that's where we are. Team 3, clear the fire escape route. We're going out that way, but we need it secure first. On it. Tae-yoon is already coordinating through his earpiece. What's happening? Ebele asks, her voice tight with fear. What's going on? The men I told you about are in the building. Min-ho keeps his voice calm, but his hand moves to the gun at his hip. We're leaving through the fire escape. Stay behind me. If I tell you to run, you run and you don't look back. Understand? Ebele's face is pale, but she nods. She scoops Gia into her arms, and their daughter, blessedly oblivious, wraps her arms around her mother's neck. Are we playing hide and seek? Gia asks excitedly. Something like that, baby, Ebele murmurs. Stay very quiet, okay? They move down the hallway, Min-ho leading, Tae-yoon bringing up the rear. The window to the fire escape is at the far end, past 3 other apartment doors. Behind one of them, Min-ho can hear a TV playing. Behind another, a couple arguing. Normal life, continuing completely unaware. They reach the window. Min-ho slides it open as quietly as possible, cold night air rushing in. Team 3, status? He asks quietly. Fire escape is clear. Route to the street is secure. Extraction vehicle is in position. Koppe. Min-ho climbs through first, then reaches back to help Ebele. She hands Jia to him, and for a second one perfect, surreal second Min-ho is holding his daughter in his arms. She weighs almost nothing. She's warm and soft, and smells like strawberry shampoo. Hi, Jia whispers, her face very close to his. Hi, Min-ho whispers back. Then Ebele is through the window, taking Jia back, and they're moving down the metal fire escape as quickly and quietly as possible. The stairs clang softly under their feet, each sound making Min-ho wince. They're 2 floors down when Tae-yoon's voice crackles through the earpiece. Contact. Team 2 engaged with the grab team at service entrance. Shots fired. Gunshots echo through the night, distant but unmistakable. Jia makes a frightened sound. Mommy, what was that? Fireworks, Ebele says quickly, her voice steady despite the terror in her eyes. Just fireworks, baby. But she looks at Min-ho, and he sees the question. What have you brought into our lives? They reach the ground level. A black SUV is waiting in the alley, engine running, back door open. Min-ho recognizes the driver, one of his most trusted men. Get in, he orders. Ebele hesitates for just a second, looking back at the building, at the life she's leaving behind. Ebele, now. She climbs in, clutching Jia. Min-ho and Tae-yoon follow, and the SUV is moving before the door is even fully closed. More gunshots behind them, shouting. Team 2 status? Min-ho demands. 3 hostiles down, no casualties on our side. We're securing the scene. The van? Driver attempted to flee. Team 1 disabled the vehicle. He's in custody. Min-ho allows himself one breath of relief. Bring him to Warehouse 7. I want to know who hired them. Koppe. The SUV speeds through Itaewon's streets, taking random turns to ensure they're not followed. In the back seat, Ebele is clutching Jia and staring at Min-ho like he's a stranger. Which, he supposes, he is. Those were real guns, she says quietly. Weren't they? Yes. People could have died. People who were trying to kidnap our daughter, Min-ho says flatly. Yes. Ebele's breath shakes. This is insane. This whole thing is insane. I can't. We can't. Mommy? Jia's small voice interrupts. Where are we going? Ebele looks at Min-ho, the question in her eyes. Somewhere safe, Min-ho says, addressing both of them. Somewhere no one can reach you. For how long? Until I eliminate the threat. And how long will that take? Min-ho meets her eyes. As long as it takes. Because he's just realized something fundamental. He's not letting them go. Not now. Not ever. His daughter exists. His daughter is real and perfect and in danger because of him. And Kang Min-ho has never failed to protect what's his. The drive to Kang Tower takes 30 minutes through careful, circuitous routes. Min-ho watches the rearview mirrors obsessively, scanning for tails, but his security team is thorough. No one follows them. Jia falls asleep against Ebele's chest halfway through the drive, her small hand still clutching Mr. Snuggles. Ebele strokes her hair with mechanical gentleness, but her eyes never leave Min-ho's face. You owe me answers, she says quietly. Careful not to wake Jia. Real ones. Not the cryptic bullshit you gave me 6 years ago. I know. Who were those men? Who's trying to hurt her? I don't know yet, but I'm going to find out. Min-ho's jaw clenches. The man I killed tonight was hired muscle, professional kidnapper. Someone paid him to surveil Jia, gather intelligence, and wait for orders to grab her. Why? What could anyone possibly want with a 5-year-old girl? Leverage against me. Min-ho meets her eyes. I'm not a good man, Ebele. I never was. The world I live in, the business I run, it's built on violence and fear. I have enemies. A lot of them. And if they know I have a daughter, she becomes a weapon they can use against you. Ebele finishes, her voice hollow. My God, this is what you were trying to protect me from, isn't it? 6 years ago, this is why you left. Yes. And now, because someone found out about Gia anyway, you've dragged us right into the middle of it. Ebele's laugh is broken. Your protection failed, Min-ho. It failed spectacularly. The accusation lands like a gut punch, but Min-ho can't argue with it. She's right. He walked away to keep them safe, and all he accomplished was being absent for 5 years of his daughter's life while someone else plotted to use her against him anyway. I'm sorry, he says, and the words feel inadequate. I'm sorry I wasn't there. I'm sorry you had to do this alone. I'm sorry I didn't know she existed until tonight. Whose fault is that? Ebele's voice shakes. You made it impossible to reach you. I tried, Min-ho. After you left, I tried so hard to contact you. But you'd blocked every avenue. It was like you'd ceased to exist. I had to make a clean break. If there was any connection between us, any way for my enemies to trace you, so you sacrificed our relationship to keep me safe. How noble. Ebele's eyes are bright with unshed tears. Did it ever occur to you to ask what I wanted? To let me decide if the risk was worth it? You would have chosen to stay, Min-ho says quietly, and eventually they would have found you. They would have hurt you to get to me. I couldn't live with that. So instead, I had to live with you disappearing without explanation. I had to wonder what I'd done wrong. I had to mourn you while carrying your child. Ebele's voice breaks. Do you have any idea what that was like? Min-ho's hands clench into fists. No, I don't. But I'm here now, and I'm not leaving again. You might not have a choice. If the threat is as serious as you say, it is. Then staying close to us puts us in more danger, not less. Ebele looks down at Gia's sleeping face. Maybe the smart thing is for you to disappear again. Let us go back to being invisible. It's too late for that. They know about her now. Even if I walk away, they'll still use her against me. The only way to protect her is to eliminate the threat entirely. By killing people. Min-ho doesn't deny it. Yes, Ebele closes her eyes. I can't believe this is my life now. Running from kidnappers, hiding in safe houses, watching my daughter's father talk about murder like it's a business decision. It is a business decision. Min-ho says flatly, in my world, violence is currency. Either I'm willing to use it or I'm vulnerable. And I will not be vulnerable. Not when it comes to Gia. The SUV pulls into the underground garage of Kang Tower. Min-ho's building 70 stories of steel and glass, the crown jewel of his legitimate business empire. The garage level is secured with biometric access, armed guards, and enough surveillance to make Fort Knox jealous. Welcome home, Mr. Kang, the security chief says as they exit the vehicle. Abel looks around at the military-grade security with wide eyes. This is where you live? Top floor, penthouse suite, 12,000 square feet, completely secure. Min-ho reaches for Gia. Let me carry her. Ebele hesitates, her arms tightening around their daughter protectively. I'm not going to hurt her, Min-ho says quietly. I just want to carry my daughter. Something in Ebele's expression softens slightly. She lets him take Gia, and Min-ho cradles the sleeping child against his chest, careful not to wake her. She's so small, so fragile, so utterly defenseless against the world that's now hunting her. The private elevator takes them directly to the penthouse. When the doors open, Ebele's breath catches. Floor-to-ceiling windows showcase Seoul's glittering skyline. Modern furniture in blacks and grays creates sharp geometric lines. Art worth millions hangs on walls that have never heard a child's laughter. Everything is pristine, expensive, and utterly sterile. It's like a museum, Ebele murmurs. I don't spend much time here, Min-ho admits. It's more of a fortress than a home. Where's she supposed to sleep? Guest room. I'll have it redecorated tomorrow, something more appropriate for a child. Ebele follows him down the hallway, her eyes taking in every detail. Min-ho pushes open the door to the blue guest room, modern, minimalist, completely inappropriate for a 5-year-old. But it has a bed, and Ji-ah is asleep, and that's what matters right now. He lays her down gently, and Ebele immediately starts arranging pillows around her, creating a protective nest. Min-ho watches, cataloging the practice movements of a mother who's done this 1,000 times. "I'm staying with her," Ebele says firmly. "I'm not leaving her alone in a strange place." The couch pulls out into a bed. "Fine." Min-ho wants to argue, wants to insist that Ebele take the actual guest suite down the hall. But he understands. In her position, he wouldn't leave Ji-ah alone either. There are clothes in the closet if you need anything. Toiletries in the bathroom. If you're hungry— I'm not hungry. Ebele sits on the edge of Ji-ah's bed, her hand resting protectively on their daughter's back. "I just want to make sure she's safe." "She is. I promise." Ebele looks up at him, and her expression is complex fear and anger and exhaustion, and something that might be the faintest hint of trust. "Don't make promises you can't keep," she says quietly. Min-ho holds her gaze. "I've never broken a promise to someone I love." The words hang in the air between them. Ebele's breath catches, but before she can respond, Min-ho turns and leaves, pulling the door mostly closed behind him. In the hallway, he leans against the wall and lets himself feel the full weight of the last 2 hours. He has a daughter. He has a daughter, and someone tried to kidnap her tonight. He has a daughter, and she's sleeping 20 feet away, completely unaware that her entire world just changed. "Hyung," Tae-yoon appears from the security office. "We need to talk about the van driver." Min-ho straightens, his expression hardening. Is he ready to talk? He's been asking for a lawyer. Professional criminal knows his rights. His rights don't apply here. Min-ho starts walking toward his study. "Bring him to Warehouse 7. I'll be there in an hour." "What about the woman and child?" "They're secure. Full surveillance on this floor. Biometric locks on all exits. Security team stationed in the lobby. No one gets up here without my explicit authorization." "Understood." Tae-yoon hesitates. "Hyung, are you sure about this? Bringing them here, into your life, it's going to complicate things." "Things are already complicated," Min-ho says flatly. "At least this way I can protect them." He spends the next 30 minutes making phone calls, coordinating with his various security teams, reviewing surveillance footage from the apartment building. 3 dead kidnappers, 1 in custody, and still no clear answer about who hired them or why. But Min-ho is patient. He's spent years building his empire through careful strategy and ruthless execution. He'll find whoever's behind this, and then he'll destroy them. A soft sound makes him look up. Ebele is standing in the doorway of his study, her arms wrapped around herself. "She's still asleep," she says quietly. I need to talk to you." Min-ho gestures to the chair across from his desk. Ebele sits, but she perches on the edge like she might flee at any moment. "6 years ago," she starts, her voice carefully controlled. "When you left, you said it was over. You said you didn't love me anymore. You made me believe I was the problem." Min-ho's chest tightens. "I lied. I know that now. But at the time, I believed you. I spent months trying to figure out what I'd done wrong, what I could have done differently." Ebele's hands clench in her lap. "And then I found out I was pregnant." "When?" Min-ho asks, though he's not sure he wants to know the answer. 2 months after you left. I took the test in a bathroom in Paris. I'd taken a translation job there to get away from London, from all the memories. And I just stared at those 2 lines and thought, how am I supposed to do this alone? The guilt is crushing. You should have told me. How? Ebele's voice rises slightly. You'd blocked every form of contact. I tried calling, your number was disconnected. I tried emailing, messages bounced back. I even tried going to your office in London, and they told me no one by your name had ever worked there. Min-ho had been thorough in erasing himself from her life, too thorough. I had people at the office lie, he admits. I couldn't risk you finding me. I thought I was protecting you. You were protecting yourself, Ebele says quietly. from having to face what you were giving up, from having to admit that you loved me, but you loved your empire more. That's not true, isn't it? Ebele meets his eyes. You made a choice, Min-ho. You chose your world over me. I've made my peace with that. But don't pretend you did it for my sake. You did it because loving me meant being vulnerable, and you can't afford vulnerability in your line of work. The words cut deep because they're partially true. Min-ho had walked away because staying meant putting Ebele in danger. But he'd also walked away because loving her had terrified him in ways that violence never could. I was a coward, he says finally. You're right, I was afraid of what loving you meant, afraid of the power you had over me, afraid that if my enemies found out about you, they'd use you to destroy me. And now they have, Ebele says bitterly. They found out about Gia, and here we are. Yes, here we are. Min-ho leans forward. But I'm not running this time, Ebele. I'm not walking away. I'm going to find whoever's behind this, and I'm going to eliminate them. And then I'm going to make sure Gia is safe, permanently. By doing what? Killing everyone who might ever threaten her? Ebele shakes her head. That's not protection, Min-ho. That's paranoia. In my world, paranoia keeps you alive. Well, Gia doesn't live in your world. She lives in a world where the biggest danger is skinned knees and hurt feelings. I want to keep it that way. You can't, Min-ho says gently. Not anymore. The moment that photograph was taken, Gia became a target. We can't unring that bell. Ebele's eyes fill with tears. I hate this. I hate that my daughter is in danger because of who her father is. I hate that I have to be afraid every time I take her to the playground. I hate that you're back in my life, and I don't know if I want to strangle you or... She stops abruptly, looking away. Or what? Min-ho asks quietly. Nothing. It doesn't matter. Ebele stands abruptly. I should get back to Gia. Ebele? Don't. She holds up a hand. Don't say whatever you're about to say. I can't handle it right now. I just need to focus on keeping my daughter safe and sane through whatever nightmare we're about to live through. She leaves before Min-ho can respond, and he's left alone in his study with the weight of 6 years of mistakes pressing down on him. An hour later, Min-ho stands in Warehouse 7, staring down at the van driver zip-tied to a chair. The man is Korean, mid-30s, with the kind of face that disappears in a crowd. Professional criminal. Smart enough to keep his mouth shut. Until Min-ho makes him talk. Name, Min-ho says conversationally. The man spits blood onto the concrete floor. Lawyer? You don't get a lawyer. You get me. Min-ho picks up a pair of pliers from the table. And I'm much less pleasant than a lawyer. I know my rights. You lost your rights when you decided to surveil my daughter. Min-ho's voice goes deadly quiet. Now, I'm going to ask you questions, and you're going to answer them. Every time you refuse, I'm going to remove a finger. After 10 fingers, I move to toes. After 20 total, I get creative, understand? The man's eyes widen slightly, but he sets his jaw. Go to hell. Wrong answer. 2 hours later, Min-ho has a name. Victor Zhao, Chinese triad boss operating out of Macau. Old enemy someone Min-ho thought he'd neutralized 5 years ago. He wants revenge, the driver gasps through broken teeth. You killed his brother. He's been waiting for leverage against you. Where is he now? Macau, Golden Dragon Casino, penthouse suite. And the plan for Gia? Grab her. Use her to force you into a meeting. Kill you both. The driver coughs blood. He doesn't care about the kid. She's just bait. Min-ho's hands clench. How many people know about her? Just Zhao's inner circle. Maybe 6 people total. He wanted to keep it quiet until he was ready to move. And now? Now he knows you found out. He'll either accelerate or abort. Min-ho considers this. If Zhao accelerates, he'll try to grab Gia again soon before Min-ho can secure her completely. If he aborts, he'll go underground and wait for another opportunity. Either way, the threat remains. Taeyun, Min-ho says, we're going to Macau. When? Tomorrow night. I want full surveillance on Zhao's location. Complete tactical breakdown of the casino. Extraction routes planned. Min-ho looks down at the driver. And take care of this. The single gunshot echoes as Min-ho walks away. By the time he returns to the penthouse, it's nearly 3 a.m. He expects Ebele and Gia to be asleep, but light spills from under the guest room door. He knocks softly. "Come in," Ebele's voice answers. She's sitting on the pulled-out couch, wrapped in a blanket, Gia asleep in the bed behind her. She looks exhausted, dark circles under her eyes, but her expression is alert. "Couldn't sleep?" Min-ho asks. "Every time I close my eyes, I see those men. I hear the gunshots." Ebele's voice shakes slightly. "I keep thinking about what could have happened if you hadn't shown up. If they'd grabbed her while I was distracted. They didn't. She's safe. For now." Ebele looks up at him. "What happens tomorrow? What happens when whoever's behind this tries again?" "They won't get the chance." Min-ho sits in the chair across from her, keeping a respectful distance. "I know who's behind it. Victor Zhao, Macau Triad boss. I'm flying there tomorrow night to eliminate the threat." Ebele stares at him. "You're going to kill him." "Yes." "Just like that. Just murder someone." "He tried to have my daughter kidnapped," Min-ho says flatly. "He planned to use her as bait and then kill her. He doesn't get mercy." "And what if something happens to you? What if he kills you instead?" The question catches Min-ho off guard. "Is that concern I hear?" "Don't flatter yourself. I'm thinking about Gia. If you get yourself killed, she loses a father she just met. That's going to devastate her. She doesn't know I'm her father." "She will eventually. Children aren't stupid, Min-ho. She's already noticed the matching birthmarks. It won't take long for her to start asking questions." Ebele pulls the blanket tighter around herself. "Are you going to tell her? Or are you going to keep pretending to be Mommy's friend?" Min-ho hasn't thought that far ahead. The idea of sitting down with Gia and explaining that he's her father, that he's been absent her entire life, fills him with something close to panic. "I don't know," he admits. "What do you think I should do?" "I think you should tell her the truth. Age, appropriately but honestly." Ebele's voice softens slightly. "She deserves to know. And you deserve the chance to be her father if that's what you really want." "It is. I want that more than anything." "Then prove it. Don't just swoop in and play hero and then disappear again when things get hard. Be consistent. Be present. Be the father she deserves." "I will," Min-ho says, "and it's a promise. I know I failed you, Ebele. I know I walked away when I should have stayed. But I'm not making that mistake again. Not with Gia. Not with you." Ebele's breath catches. "Don't bring me into this. This is about Gia. Is it? Because from where I'm sitting, this is about all of us. You, me, and the daughter we made together. We're a family, whether you like it or not." "We're not a family," Ebele says, but her voice wavers. "We're just two people who share a child." "Are we?" Min-ho leans forward. "Because I remember London, Ebele. I remember the way you looked at me, the way you said my name, the way you made me feel like I could be someone other than a monster. That was 6 years ago. We're different people now." "Are we? Or are we just older and more scarred?" Min-ho holds her gaze. "I still think about you. Every day for 6 years I've thought about you. Wondered if you were happy. Hoped you'd moved on. Hated the idea that you might have." "Stop." Ebele's voice breaks. "Please stop." "Why? Because it's easier to hate me than to admit you might still feel something too? Because I can't do this." Ebele stands abruptly, the blanket falling away. "I can't let myself feel anything for you. You destroyed me once, Min-ho. I won't let you do it again. I'm not trying to destroy you. I'm trying to... To what? Fix things? Make up for lost time? You can't." Ebele's eyes are bright with unshed tears. "Those 5 years are gone. I raised our daughter alone. I was there for her first word, her first steps, her first day of school. You missed all of it, and you don't get to waltz back in and act like that doesn't matter." "It matters," Min-ho says quietly. "It matters more than you know. And I'm sorry. I'm so fucking sorry, Ebele. But I can't change the past. I can only try to do better going forward." "Then do better. Be the father Gia needs. But don't ask me to open my heart to you again. I can't survive it a second time. She's crying now, silent tears tracking down her face, and Min-ho has never felt more helpless in his life. He's faced down armed enemies, negotiated with international crime lords, built an empire through sheer force of will. But he doesn't know how to fix what he broke in the woman he loves. I won't push, he says finally. I'll focus on Jia, on being the father she deserves. And if that's all you can give me right now, I'll take it. Ebele nods, wiping at her tears. Thank you. Min-ho stands to leave, but pauses at the door. For what it's worth, Ebele, I never stopped loving you, not for 1 second in 6 years. He leaves before she can respond, pulling the door closed behind him. In the hallway, he leans against the wall and lets himself feel the full weight of his mistakes. He has a daughter he needs to protect. He has a woman he needs to prove himself to. And he has an enemy in Macau who needs to die. Tomorrow, he'll start fixing things. Tonight, he'll just try to breathe through the pain. The next morning, Min-ho wakes to the sound of laughter. It's such an alien sound in his penthouse that for a moment, he thinks he's dreaming. But no, that's definitely Jia's high, bright giggle echoing from somewhere down the hall. He finds them in the kitchen. Ebele is making pancakes, and Jia is sitting on the counter wearing one of his dress shirts like a dress, flower on her nose, her feet swinging happily. They both freeze when they see him. Good morning, Min-ho says carefully. Morning, Mr. Kang, Jia chirps. We're making pancakes. Do you like pancakes? Min-ho has never made pancakes in his life. His kitchen is more for show than function. I do, he lies smoothly. With chocolate chips? Those are the best kind. Jia beams. Mommy, can we make Mr. Kang some too? Ebele's expression is carefully neutral. Sure, baby. Min-ho watches them work together, Ebele patient and gentle, Jia enthusiastic and messy. The domestic scene is so foreign to his sterile penthouse that it feels like stepping into an alternate reality. This is what normal families do. This is what he's never had. Coffee, Ebele offers, still not quite meeting his eyes. Please. She pours him a cup, her movements precise. Min-ho notices the exhaustion in her face. She probably didn't sleep at all after their conversation. Any nightmares? He asks quietly while Jia is distracted with chocolate chips. No, she slept through. Ebele pauses. Did you? I don't sleep much. I remember. The words slip out before she can stop them, and color rises in her cheeks. I mean, I know what you meant. The tension between them is thick, but Jia is oblivious, chattering about Mr. Snuggles and whether rabbits like pancakes. Min-ho's phone buzzes. Taeyoon's message is simple. Everything is set for Macau. Departure at 8 p.m. Min-ho types back. Understood. Prepare the backup security detail for the penthouse. He looks up to find Ebele watching him. You're leaving today, she says. It's not a question. Tonight, I'll be back by tomorrow afternoon. And if you're not? Min-ho meets her eyes. Then Taeyoon has instructions. You'll both be protected and provided for, but I will be back. You can't promise that. Yes, I can. Min-ho's voice is absolute. I'm not leaving my daughter fatherless. Not now, not ever. Jia looks up from her chocolate chips. Where are you going, Mr. Kang? Min-ho kneels to her eye level, ignoring Ebele's sharp intake of breath. I have to go on a work trip, just for 1 day, but I'll be back tomorrow, I promise. Pinky promise? Jia holds out her tiny finger. Min-ho links his pinky with hers, careful and gentle. Pinky promise. Okay. Jia throws her arms around his neck in an impulsive hug, and Min-ho freezes for a second before carefully wrapping his arms around his daughter. She's so small, so trusting, so utterly perfect. Over Jia's shoulder, he sees Ebele watching them, her hand pressed to her mouth, her eyes bright with emotion. I need to tell her, Min-ho says quietly to Ebele later, after Jia has been distracted with cartoons in the living room, about who I am. Now, before you leave to go kill someone? I don't want her to find out from someone else, or figure it out on her own and feel lied to. Min-ho runs a hand through his hair, How do I tell a 5-year-old that I'm her father? Carefully, honestly. And with me there, Ebele says firmly, she's going to have questions. She's going to be confused. She needs both of us to help her process it. They find Gia in the living room, building a castle out of blocks with Mr. Snuggles supervising. Gia, baby, Ebele says gently. Can you come sit with Mommy and Mr. Kang for a minute? We need to talk to you about something. Gia's face immediately scrunches with worry. Am I in trouble? No, sweetheart, you're not in trouble. We just need to tell you something important. Gia climbs onto the couch between them, looking from Ebele to Min-ho with wide eyes. What is it? Min-ho's throat is so tight he can barely speak. Ebele reaches over and squeezes his hand, a gesture of support that makes his chest ache. Gia, he starts, then has to clear his throat and try again. Do you know what a father is? Gia nods seriously. It's like a daddy. Sarah at school has a daddy. He picks her up sometimes. That's right. And I'm your daddy, Gia. Gia blinks at him. You are? Yes. I'm your father. I've been gone for a long time because I didn't know you existed. But now I do, and I want to be part of your life. If that's okay with you? Gia processes this with the serious concentration of a 5-year-old. So you're like Sarah's daddy? You're gonna pick me up from school and stuff? If you want me to, yes. And we have the same moon because you're my daddy? Exactly. The birthmark runs in our family. Your grandparents had it too. I have grandparents? Gia's eyes go wide. Min-ho's chest tightens. His parents are dead killed in a car accident when he was 16. They passed away a long time ago, but yes, you had grandparents who would have loved you very much. Gia thinks about this. Where were you before? I was working far away, and I didn't know your mommy was going to have a baby. But now that I know about you, I'm going to be here. I'm going to protect you and take care of you and be the best daddy I can be. Okay? Gia smiles, apparently satisfied with this explanation. Can I call you daddy? Min-ho's throat closes completely. He nods, not trusting his voice. Daddy, Gia tests the word out, then giggles. That's funny, I have a daddy now. She throws her arms around Min-ho's neck again. And this time, Min-ho lets himself hold her tight, breathing in her strawberry shampoo scent, feeling her small heartbeat against his chest. His daughter. His Iya. His miracle. When Gia pulls back, she's beaming. Can we have pancakes now, Daddy? Yes, Min-ho manages, his voice rough. We can have pancakes. They eat breakfast together, chocolate chip pancakes that are probably the best thing Min-ho has ever tasted, not because they're well made, but because he made them with his daughter. Gia chatters nonstop, telling him about school and her friends and Mr. Snuggles' adventures. Min-ho absorbs every word, committing it all to memory. Ebele watches them with an expression that's equal parts joy and heartbreak. I have to leave soon. Min-ho says to Gia after breakfast, but I'll be back tomorrow. And when I get back, maybe we can do something fun together. What would you like to do? Can we go to the playground? Min-ho's jaw clenches. The playground where the surveillance photo was taken. How about the aquarium instead? Have you ever been to an aquarium? Gia shakes her head, eyes wide. Then that's what we'll do. We'll see all the fish and sharks and maybe even touch a starfish. Really? Gia bounces excitedly. Mommy, can we? Sure, baby, Ebele says softly. That sounds fun. Min-ho spends the rest of the day with them. He should be preparing for Macau, reviewing tactical plans, coordinating with his team. But instead, he sits on the floor of his living room and plays blocks with his daughter while Ebele watches from the couch. It's the best day he's had in 6 years. At 7 p.m., Taeyoon arrives to brief him. The plane is ready. Team is in position. We have full surveillance on Zhao's location. Min-ho nods, but his eyes are on Gia, who's building a tower that's taller than she is. Hyung, Taeyoon says quietly, we need to go. I know. Min-ho kneels in front of Gia. I have to leave now, sweetheart, but I'll be back tomorrow. Remember our pinky promise? Gia nods and hooks her pinky with his. Be safe, Daddy. The word daddy from her lips nearly undoes him. I will. He kisses her forehead, his first kiss to his daughter, and then stands to face Ebele. Walk me out? He asks. Ebele follows him to the elevator, her arms wrapped around herself. Once the doors close and they're alone, she speaks. Promise me you'll come back, she says, her voice shaking. Promise me Jia won't lose you the day after she found you. I promise. Min-ho cups her face in his hands, his thumbs brushing her cheeks. I'm coming back, Ebele, to both of you. Ebele's eyes fill with tears. Why does it feel like you're saying goodbye? Because you're afraid. But you don't need to be. I've survived worse than Victor Zhao. Have you? Because from where I'm standing, you have a lot more to lose now than you did before. Ebele's voice breaks. Before, you were alone. You had nothing to lose. But now I have everything to lose, Min-ho finishes. Which means I'll be even more careful, even more ruthless, because I'm not leaving my daughter fatherless. And I'm not. He stops himself before he can say the rest. And I'm not leaving you again. But Ebele hears it anyway. She always could read him too well. Come back, she whispers. I will. The elevator doors open to the garage level. Min-ho forces himself to step out, to walk away from Ebele and Jia and the life he's just started to taste. But as the SUV pulls away from Kang Tower, heading toward the airport and the plane that will take him to Macau, Min-ho makes himself a promise. Victor Zhao dies tonight, and tomorrow Min-ho comes home to his family. The flight to Macau takes 3 hours. Min-ho spends them reviewing intelligence on Victor Zhao's operation. The Golden Dragon Casino is one of the largest in Macau, with Zhao's penthouse suite occupying the entire top floor. Security is tight private elevators, armed guards, biometric access. But Min-ho has something Zhao doesn't: motivation. The plan is simple. Tae-yoon briefs the team as they approach Macau. We insert through the service entrance using forged credentials. Team 1 secures the route to the penthouse. Team 2 provides overwatch and prevents reinforcements. Hyung goes in alone to handle Zhao. Why alone? One of the newer operatives asks. Because this is personal, Min-ho says coldly. Zhao targeted my daughter. He dies by my hand. No one else's. They land at a private airstrip outside Macau and transfer to unmarked vehicles. The city glitters in the night casinos and hotels and the promise of fortune for those brave or stupid enough to gamble. Min-ho isn't here to gamble. He's here to eliminate a threat. The Golden Dragon Casino is a monument to excess gold fixtures, crystal chandeliers, the constant sound of slot machines and roulette wheels. Min-ho and his team enter through the service entrance, their forged credentials getting them past the first layer of security without issue. Team 1, in position, comes the report through his earpiece. Team 2, clear sight lines established. Hyung, you're clear to proceed to the penthouse. Min-ho takes the service elevator up, his hand resting on the gun at his hip. The elevator opens onto a hallway that's significantly less opulent than the casino floors below concrete and fluorescent lights, the behind-the-scenes infrastructure that keeps the fantasy running. The penthouse access elevator is at the end of the hall, guarded by 2 men in suits. Min-ho doesn't slow down. The first guard reaches for his weapon. Min-ho shoots him in the throat, a silenced shot that drops him instantly. The second guard is faster, actually getting his gun clear, but Min-ho is already moving. He closes the distance, deflects the guard's aim, and drives a knife into his kidney. Both bodies hit the floor within seconds. Min-ho steps over them and uses the stolen keycard to access the penthouse elevator. The ride-up is silent except for the mechanical hum and the thunder of his heartbeat. The doors open directly into Zhao's penthouse suite. And there, sitting on a leather couch with a glass of whiskey, is Victor Zhao himself. Kang Min-ho, Zhao says in Mandarin, a smile playing at his lips. I was wondering when you'd show up. Min-ho's gun is already aimed at Zhao's head. You made a mistake going after my daughter. Did I? Because from where I'm sitting, I flushed you out of hiding. Zhao takes a sip of whiskey, apparently unconcerned about the gun pointed at him. 6 years you've been untouchable. 6 years you've hidden behind your empire and your security and your reputation. But everyone has a weakness, Min-ho. I just had to find yours. How did you find out about her? Luck, mostly. One of my men was in London 6 years ago. He saw you with a woman, a beautiful African woman. He remembered it because it was so unusual. The great Kang Min-ho, looking at someone like she was his whole world. Zhao's smile widens. He kept tabs on her after you left. Saw she had a baby 9 months later. A baby with your eyes and that distinctive birthmark. It wasn't hard to connect the dots. Min-ho's finger tightens on the trigger. You've been watching them for 6 years? Not actively. I filed the information away for when I needed it. And then, a few months ago, I decided it was time to make my move. Time to make you pay for killing my brother. Your brother was dealing drugs to children. He deserved what he got. Perhaps. But family is family, Min-ho. Surely you understand that now. Zhao gestures to the empty chair across from him. Sit. Have a drink. Let's talk about this like civilized men. There's nothing to talk about. You tried to kidnap my daughter. You die. That's the end of the conversation. But it's not, is it? Zhao's expression turns calculating. Because if you kill me, my organization knows to release all the information about your daughter. Her name, her school, her daily routines. We've compiled quite a dossier. Every criminal organization in Asia will know exactly where to find Kang Min-ho's weakness. Min-ho's blood runs cold. You're bluffing. Am I? Check your phone. I think you'll find a very interesting email waiting for you. Min-ho pulls out his phone with his free hand, keeping the gun trained on Zhao. Sure enough, there's an email from an unknown sender. He opens it. It's everything. Photos of Jia at school, at the playground, at home, her full name, birth date, medical records, Ebele's information. Everything someone would need to target them. That file goes to 20 different criminal organizations if I don't check in every 12 hours. Zhao says calmly, kill me, and you doom your daughter to a lifetime of looking over her shoulder. Let me live, and we can come to an arrangement. What kind of arrangement? You give me what I want, control of your sole operations. I get to expand into Korea without opposition. In exchange, I destroy every copy of that file and guarantee your daughter's safety. Min-ho's mind races through scenarios. If he kills Zhao, the information goes out. But if he agrees to Zhao's terms, he's giving up everything he's built. His empire, his power, his ability to protect Jia from future threats. It's an impossible choice. Unless. How do I know you'll keep your word? Min-ho asks. Buying time. You don't, but you don't have any other options. Zhao smiles. Your reputation won't save you this time, Min-ho. Your violence won't save you. The only thing that saves your daughter is my goodwill. So what's it going to be? Min-ho lowers his gun slightly. I need time to think about it. You have until... Min-ho shoots him in the head. Zhao's body slumps back on the couch. Whiskey glass falling from his hand. Blood spreading across the expensive leather. Taeyeon? Min-ho says into his earpiece. Zhao is down. I need your tech team to trace the dead man's switch on the file he sent me. We have approximately 12 hours before it triggers. On it. We're pulling his computer systems now. Min-ho searches the penthouse methodically, looking for any physical copies of the file, any additional leverage Zhao might have had. He finds Zhao's laptop, several encrypted hard drives, and a wall safe that takes him 15 minutes to crack. Inside the safe is a single USB drive labeled Insurance. Min-ho pockets it and heads for the exit. The extraction is clean. They're out of the casino and in the vehicles within 20 minutes. Zhao's body left behind for his organization to find. Let them know what happens to people who threaten Kang Min-ho's family. On the plane back to Seoul, Taeyoon works frantically to decrypt the files and trace the dead man's switch. Got it, he finally says, 6 hours into the flight. The trigger is set to send to a server farm in Singapore if Zhao doesn't check in by 8 a.m. Seoul time. But Hyung, the encryption is sophisticated. We might not be able to stop it in time. Then we don't stop it. We redirect it. Min-ho leans forward. Can you intercept the email and send it to a server we control instead? Possibly. But we're working against a clock. Then work faster. They land in Seoul at 7:23 a.m., 37 minutes until the dead man's switch triggers. Min-ho goes straight to his tech team's headquarters, a nondescript building in Gangnam that houses some of the best hackers in Asia. Status? He demands. We've mapped the server path. We can intercept, but we need to time it perfectly. Too early, and the system detects the intrusion. Too late, and the emails go out. How long? 15 minutes to set up the intercept. Then we wait for the trigger and redirect in real time. Min-ho checks his watch. 7:41 a.m., 19 minutes until 8 a.m. The next 15 minutes are the longest of his life. His tech team works in focused silence, typing rapidly, speaking in technical jargon Min-ho barely understands. All he knows is that if they fail, Jia's information goes out to 20 criminal organizations. If they fail, his daughter will never be safe. Intercept is ready, the lead tech finally announces. Waiting for the trigger. Trigger activated, the tech says. Emails are being sent. Intercepting now. The room holds its collective breath. Got them. Rerouting to our server. Checking for any that slipped through. A pause that feels like an eternity. All 20 emails intercepted. 0 reached their intended targets. Min-ho exhales for what feels like the first time in hours. Delete everything. Every copy, every backup, every trace of that file. Already on it. This data is going to cease to exist in approximately. The tech types rapidly. 3 minutes. Min-ho watches as his daughter's information, her name, her face, her entire life is systematically erased from Zhao's servers. When it's done, the only people who know about Jia are people Min-ho trusts with his life. It's done, the tech confirms. The file is gone. Your daughter is secure. Min-ho allows himself one moment of pure relief. Then he's moving again, heading for the door, for his car, for home. For his family, he arrives at Kang Tower at 9:17 a.m. The elevator ride up to the penthouse feels like it takes forever. When the doors finally open, he hears Jia's laughter before he sees her. She's in the living room with Ebele, both of them in pajamas, watching cartoons. Normal, safe, completely unaware of the war Min-ho just fought to keep them that way. "Daddy!" Jia shrieks when she sees him, launching herself off the couch and running full speed into his arms. Min-ho catches her, lifting her up, holding her tight against his chest. "Hi, sweetheart. You came back. You kept your pinky promise." "I always keep my promises." Over Jia's shoulder, Min-ho sees Ebele standing slowly, her hand pressed to her mouth, tears streaming down her face. "It's over," he tells her quietly. "The threat is gone. She's safe." Ebele's legs give out. She sinks back onto the couch, sobbing with relief. Min-ho carries Jia over and sits beside Ebele, their daughter nestled between them. "Mommy, why are you crying?" Jia asks, concerned. "Happy tears, baby," Ebele manages. "Mommy's just really happy." Jia accepts this and snuggles against Min-ho's chest. "Can we go to the aquarium now?" Min-ho looks at Ebele, who nods through her tears. "Yes," he says, "we can go to the aquarium." They spend the day as a family, Min-ho, Ebele, and Jia. At the aquarium, Jia presses her face against the glass of the shark tank, completely fearless. She holds both their hands as they walk through the jellyfish exhibit, the blue light making her laugh with delight. She convinces Min-ho to buy her a stuffed octopus from the gift shop that she immediately names Mr. 8 Legs. It's perfect. It's everything Min-ho never let himself want. That evening, after Jia falls asleep exhausted from the day's adventures, Min-ho finds Ebele on the penthouse balcony, staring out at Seoul's skyline. "Thank you," she says quietly when he joins her, "for keeping her safe, for coming back. I told you I would." "I know, but I was still terrified you wouldn't." Ebele turns to face him. "She adores you already, you know. She's been talking about her daddy all day. How strong you are, how you bought her Mr. 8 Legs, how you held her up to see the whale shark." Min-ho's chest tightens. "She's incredible. You did an amazing job raising her." I had to. I didn't have a choice. Ebele's voice shakes slightly. But I'm glad she has you now. She needs a father. And despite everything, I think you're going to be good at it. I want to be. I want to be there for all of it. School plays, scraped knees, teenage heartbreak, everything I missed in the first 5 years. You can't get those years back, Min-ho. I know, but I can make sure I'm there for all the years going forward. He pauses. Which brings me to something I need to ask you. Ebele tenses. What? Move in with me. Officially. Not just because of the security, though, that's part of it, but because I want us to be a family. I want to wake up every morning and see Gia at breakfast. I want to put her to bed every night. I want to be present for her life. Min-ho, I'm not asking you to be with me, he adds quickly. I know I haven't earned that. I'm just asking you to let me be a father to our daughter. Let me provide for you both. Let me keep you safe. Ebele is quiet for a long moment. What does that look like? Us living here, you being Gia's father, but we're not together? It looks like co-parenting. It looks like putting Gia first. It looks like me proving to you day after day that I'm not going to disappear again. Min-ho meets her eyes. And if, someday, you decide you can trust me again, trust us again, then maybe it becomes something more. But I'm not asking for that now. I'm just asking for a chance to be the father Gia deserves. And if I say yes, if we move in here and build this life together, what happens when the next threat comes? Because there will be another threat, Min-ho. Your world doesn't stop being dangerous just because we want it to. You're right. There will always be risks. But I'm better equipped to protect you both if you're here, in my home, with my security. Min-ho reaches out and takes her hand, careful and tentative. I can't promise you a normal life, Ebele, but I can promise you that I will spend every day trying to keep you and Gia safe, that I will be the father she needs, and that I will never, ever walk away again. Ebele stares down at their joined hands. I need time to think about it. Take all the time you need. And I have conditions. If we do this, if I agree to stay, Gia's life stays as normal as possible. She goes to regular school, has play dates with regular kids, doesn't grow up thinking bodyguards and bulletproof cars are normal. Agreed. And you tell her the truth about what you do. Age appropriately, but honestly. I won't have her growing up with lies. Min-ho's jaw clenches. The idea of telling his daughter that he's built his fortune on violence and fear makes him feel sick. But Ebele is right. Gia deserves the truth. Agreed, he says finally. And me, Ebele's voice drops. I'm not your employee or your dependent. If I stay, I keep working. I keep my independence. I'm Gia's mother first, and everything else second. Of course. Okay. Ebele takes a shaky breath. Okay, we'll try this. But Min-ho, the second I think Gia is in danger, the second I think this isn't working, we leave. Understood? Understood. She should pull her hand away now. The conversation is over. But she doesn't. Her fingers tighten slightly on his, and Min-ho feels something shift in the air between them. I don't know if I can forgive you, she whispers. For leaving. For making me raise her alone. For breaking my heart. I know. But I can't deny that seeing you with her, seeing how much you already love her, it does something to me. Ebele's eyes shine with tears. She needed a father, and maybe I need to let go of my anger and give her that, even if it means facing you every day. I'll spend the rest of my life proving I'm worth facing, Min-ho says quietly. Ebele laughs, the sound broken and beautiful. You'd better. They stand there on the balcony as Seoul glitters below them, hands still linked, the weight of 6 years and 1,000 mistakes between them. But also, between them, hope, the possibility of forgiveness, the family they've created. We should get some sleep, Ebele says finally. Gia will be up early, demanding to play with Mr. Eightlegs. She gets her energy from you, Min-ho says. She gets her stubbornness from you. They smile at each other, tentative and fragile, but real. Progress. Over the next few weeks, a routine develops. Ebele and Gia officially move into the penthouse, though Ebele insists on keeping her own room. Min-ho hires a decorator to transform the guest wing into something appropriate for a 5-year-old. Bright colors, soft furniture, walls that can handle crayon marks. Gia loves it. She also loves having a father. Min-ho walks her to school every morning, her small hand tucked into his. He learns the names of all her friends, memorizes the playground politics, attends the parent-teacher conferences. He reads her bedtime stories and checks under the bed for monsters and teaches her to make silly faces. He's present. Every single day, he's present. And slowly, carefully, Ebele begins to soften toward him. It starts small, a smile when he successfully French braids Gia's hair, a laugh when he tries to cook dinner and nearly sets off the fire alarm, a moment of eye contact across the room during one of Gia's elaborate make-believe games that lasts just a second too long. Building trust. One morning, 3 months after Macau, Min-ho wakes to find a note slipped under his door. Thank you for being the father she needs. It's not forgiveness, but it's acknowledgement. And for now, that's enough. That evening, after Gia is asleep, Ebele knocks on his study door. Can we talk? She asks. Min-ho sets aside his work immediately. Of course, come in. Ebele sits in the chair across from his desk, her hands folded in her lap. I've been thinking about what you said, about wanting to be a family. Min-ho's heart rate picks up, but he keeps his expression neutral. And I think we need to set some ground rules, not just for Gia's sake, but for ours. Ebele meets his eyes. I'm not ready for a relationship, Min-ho. I'm not ready to trust you with my heart again. But I can't deny that there's still something between us. Something I don't know how to name. I feel it too. So we need to figure out what we are to each other. Because we're not just co-parents. We're not just two people sharing a space. But we're also not together. We're in this weird in-between place. What if we just let it be weird? Min-ho suggests. What if we don't try to define it or rush it? We just exist together. Take care of Gia, see where things go. Ebele considers this. No pressure, no expectations. Exactly. We focus on being the best parents we can be. And if something more develops naturally, we let it. If it doesn't, we stay co-parents and friends. Friends, Ebele repeats, a small smile playing at her lips. Can we be friends after everything? I think we have to be, for Gia, and maybe. Min-ho pauses. Maybe being friends is where we should have started 6 years ago, before we jumped into something neither of us was ready for. You might be right. Ebele stands, but she doesn't move toward the door. I should tell you something. I haven't dated anyone since you left. The admission catches Min-ho off guard. No one? I tried a few times, went on some dates, but none of them. She shakes her head. It didn't feel right. I told myself it was because I was focused on raising Gia. But I think part of me was still holding on to you, onto us, even after everything. Min-ho stands, moving around the desk. I haven't been with anyone either. Not since London. I couldn't. Every time I even considered it, I'd think of you, and everyone else seemed like a pale imitation. They're standing close now. Closer than they've been in 6 years. Ebele looks up at him, and Min-ho can see the war happening behind her eyes, the part of her that wants to lean in, and the part of her that's still terrified of being hurt again. I'm not going to kiss you, Min-ho says quietly. Not until you ask me to. Not until you're ready, however long that takes. That could be years. Then I'll wait years. Ebele's breath catches. You're different from the man you were in London. Softer somehow, but also harder. Having a daughter changes you. Losing you changed me. Min-ho reaches up slowly, giving her time to pull away, and tucks a strand of hair behind her ear. I was a fool 6 years ago, Ebele. I thought walking away would keep you safe. I thought I was being noble. But all I did was hurt us both. Yes, you did. But there's less anger in her voice now, more sadness. I wish things had been different. I wish you'd trusted me enough to tell me the truth. So do I. every single day. They stand there in the quiet of his study, the city glittering outside the windows, the weight of everything unspoken hanging between them. Then Ebele steps back. I should go to bed. Early morning tomorrow, Gia has a field trip. I remember. The Children's Museum. I'm coming with. Ebele smiles. She'll love that. Good night, Ebele. Good night, Min-ho. She leaves, and Min-ho returns to his desk, but he doesn't work. He just sits in the quiet, thinking about second chances and patience and the woman he's loved for 6 years. He can wait. For her, he can wait forever. 6 more months pass. Gia turns 6 with a birthday party that fills the penthouse with shrieking children and cake. Min-ho suffers through 2 hours of princess dress-up and declares it the best day of his life. Ebele laughs at him, and the sound is becoming more frequent, more genuine. They're becoming friends. Real friends. The kind who stay up late talking after Gia goes to bed. The kind who have inside jokes and comfortable silences. The kind who know each other's coffee orders and favorite books and the exact way to make the other smile. Min-ho falls more in love with her every day. But he doesn't push. He gave her his word. Then, one night in early spring, nearly a year since that first terrifying night, when he learned he had a daughter, everything changes. They've just put Gia to bed after a long day at the zoo. Min-ho is in the kitchen cleaning up dinner when Ebele joins him, picking up a dish towel. You don't have to help, he says. I've got it. I want to. She starts drying the dishes he washes, the two of them falling into an easy rhythm. They work in comfortable silence for a few minutes. Then Ebele speaks. Do you remember that restaurant in London? The Italian place near your office? Min-ho's hand still in the soapy water. La Dolce Vita, of course. You took me there on our first real date. I was so nervous I knocked over my wine glass. And I caught it before it spilled. Told you I had excellent reflexes. Ebele laughs softly. You were so smug about it, but also charming. I fell a little bit in love with you that night. Min-ho's heart is pounding. Why are you bringing this up? Because I've been thinking about that night a lot lately, about how easy everything was between us before it got complicated. Before your world and my world collided. Ebele sets down the dish towel and turns to face him, fully. And I've been wondering if we could get that back. If we could find a way to be us again, but better, wiser, more honest. Min-ho turns off the water, giving her his complete attention. Are you saying? I'm saying I'm tired of being scared. I'm tired of holding back because I'm afraid you'll hurt me again. Ebele's voice shakes slightly. I'm saying that watching you be a father to Gia, seeing how much you love her, how present you are, how you've kept every promise you've made, it's healing something in me. The part you broke 6 years ago. Ebele, I'm not ready to jump back into where we were, she continues quickly. I'm not ready for grand declarations or moving into your bedroom or anything like that. But I think I'm ready to try. To see if we can build something new. Something that's ours, not just for Gia, but for us. Min-ho's throat is tight. Are you sure? No. I'm terrified, but I'm also... She steps closer. I'm also tired of pretending I don't still have feelings for you, that I don't notice when you smile, that my heart doesn't do this stupid flutter thing when you play with Gia. I'm tired of fighting it. So don't, Min-ho says quietly. Don't fight it. Let yourself feel it. I'm not going anywhere, Ebele. I'm right here. I'll always be right here. Ebele looks up at him, and Min-ho sees it the exact moment she decides to take the leap. Kiss me, she whispers. Min-ho has been waiting a year to hear those words, but now that she's said them, he finds himself hesitating. You're sure? He asks one more time. Because once I kiss you, Ebele, I'm not going to want to stop. I'm not going to be able to pretend we're just friends anymore. I don't want to pretend anymore either. Min-ho cups her face in his hands, his thumbs brushing her cheeks. He leans down slowly, giving her every opportunity to change her mind. She doesn't. Their lips meet, and it's like coming home after 6 years of exile. Ebele makes a small sound, part relief, part need, and her hands come up to grip his shirt, pulling him closer. The kiss deepens, becomes desperate, becomes everything they've been holding back for a year. When they finally break apart, both breathless, Min-ho rests his forehead against hers. "I love you," he says, because he can't hold it in anymore. "I never stopped, not for 1 second in 6 years." "I love you too," Ebele whispers back. "I hate that I do, but I do. I never stopped either." They kiss again, softer this time, sweeter, a promise. "So, what now?" Ebele asks when they finally separate. "Now we take it slow. We do this right. We build something real, something that can survive anything." Min-ho brushes her hair back. "And I court you properly. Dinner dates, flowers, all the things I should have done 6 years ago. While living in the same penthouse and raising our daughter together?" Ebele laughs. "That's going to be interesting. It's going to be perfect." And it is. Over the next few months, Min-ho courts Ebele like they're teenagers instead of adults with a child. He leaves flowers on her pillow, plans elaborate date nights after Gia goes to sleep, writes her notes that make her laugh and cry in equal measure. They take it slow. They talk about everything: the past, the future, their fears, their hopes. They go to therapy together to work through the damage of their 6 years apart. They learn how to communicate, how to trust, how to be partners instead of just co-parents. And slowly, carefully, they fall in love all over again. 6 months after that first kiss, Min-ho asks Ebele to marry him. He does it simply, no grand production, just the two of them on the penthouse balcony after putting Gia to bed. He gets down on one knee and holds out a ring. "Marry me," he says. Not because of Gia, though she'll be thrilled. Not because it makes sense practically, though it does. "Marry me because I love you. Because I want to spend the rest of my life proving I'm worthy of you. Because you're my partner, my best friend, my everything." Abel is crying. "Yes, yes, of course yes." He slides the ring onto her finger and kisses her as the city glitters below them. They tell Gia the next morning. She screams with joy and demands to be the flower girl. Min-ho agrees immediately. The wedding is small, just close friends and the family that matters. Taeyoon is Min-ho's best man. Gia takes her flower girl duties very seriously, scattering petals with solemn concentration. When Min-ho sees Ebele walking toward him in a simple white dress, her natural hair crowned with flowers, Gia dancing ahead of her, he has to fight back tears. This is everything he never let himself want. This is home. "I love you," he mouths to Ebele as she reaches him. "I love you too," she mouths back. They exchange vows. They wrote themselves promises of honesty, partnership, and forever. Min-ho slides a ring onto Ebele's finger and means every word when he says, "With this ring, I thee wed." When the officiant declares them married, Gia cheers louder than anyone. "You may kiss your bride," the officiant says, smiling. Min-ho does, and it feels like every good thing he's ever done in his life has led to this moment. That night, after the celebration, after Gia finally falls asleep exhausted from dancing, Min-ho and Ebele stand together in their bedroom, their actual shared bedroom now. No more separate rooms, and just look at each other. "We did it," Ebele says, wonder in her voice. "We actually got our happy ending." "We're just getting started," Min-ho corrects. He pulls her close, his hands spanning her waist. "This is the beginning, not the end." "The beginning of what?" "Everything. Our marriage, our family, our life together." Min-ho kisses her softly. "I'm going to love you every day for the rest of my life, Ebele Kang. That's a promise." "I believe you," she whispers. "Finally, I believe you." They make love for the first time in over 6 years, slow and reverent and full of whispered promises. Afterward, they lie tangled together, Ebele's head on Min-ho's chest, his hand stroking her hair. "Tell me something," Ebele murmurs sleepily. "If you could go back 6 years, knowing what you know now, would you still leave?" Min-ho considers this seriously. "No, I'd stay. I'd fight for us instead of running. I'd find a way to protect you without losing you. Even knowing it would be dangerous? Even knowing that. Because the alternative, missing the first 5 years of Jia's life, hurting you, losing all that time that was worse than any danger. Ebele presses a kiss to his chest. I wish you'd realized that sooner. So do I. But I can't change the past. I can only be better in the future. Then be better, Ebele says softly. Love us, protect us, but also let us love and protect you. Let us be your partners, not just people you're guarding. I will. I promise. They fall asleep wrapped around each other, and for the first time in 6 years, Min-ho sleeps through the entire night without nightmares. Because he's not alone anymore. He has a wife. He has a daughter. He has a family. And he's never letting them go. 2 years later, Jia is 8 years old and practicing taekwondo in the penthouse living room when her baby brother starts crying. She immediately drops her practice stance and runs to the nursery. Mommy, Jin Woo is awake! Ebele appears from the kitchen, flour on her hands from baking. Can you rock him for me, sweetheart? I need to finish these cookies. Yes! Jia carefully picks up her baby brother, supporting his head the way her parents taught her. Hi, Jinwoo. Did you have a good nap? Min-ho watches from the doorway of his study, his heart so full it might burst. His daughter is holding his son, both of them healthy and safe and happy. His wife is in the kitchen, humming to herself. This is his life now. Daddy! Jia calls. Come see! Jinwoo smiled at me. Min-ho crosses the room and wraps his arms around both his children. He knows his big sister is the best. Of course I am, Jia says confidently. Then, more quietly, Daddy, can I ask you something? Always. My friend Sarah says you're scary, that you're some kind of important boss, and people are afraid of you. Is that true? Min-ho carefully takes Jin-woo from her arms and sits down, pulling Jia onto his lap beside her brother. It's true that I'm a boss. And it's true that some people find me intimidating. But do I seem scary to you? Jia thinks about this seriously. No, you're just Daddy. You make funny faces and read me stories, and you cried when Jinwoo was born. That's because I'm both things, sweetheart. In my work, I have to be strong and serious so I can protect our family. But at home, with you and Mommy and Jinwoo, I get to just be me. Just Daddy. So you're scary to bad people but nice to good people? Something like that. Jia accepts this with the easy logic of childhood. Okay, can we have ice cream after dinner? If Mommy says yes. Jia races off to negotiate with Ebele, and Min-ho is left holding his son, marveling at how much his life has changed. 8 years ago, he was alone. Now he has everything. Ebele joins him, sliding onto the couch beside him and leaning her head on his shoulder. What are you thinking about? How lucky I am, how I almost lost all of this because I was too scared to fight for it. But you didn't lose it. We're here, all of us. Ebele kisses Jinwoo's forehead, then Min-ho's cheek. We're together, and we're safe, and we're happy. That's what matters. I love you, Min-ho says, for the 1,000th time since their wedding, and the 10,000th time since they met. I love you too, Ebele replies, like she always does. And in that moment, holding his son with his wife beside him and his daughter laughing in the kitchen, Kang Min-ho knows with absolute certainty, this is worth everything. This is worth every sacrifice, every risk, every moment of fear. Because this, his family, his wife, his children, this life they've built together from the ashes of their mistakes, this is everything. This is home. This is love. This is forever.